Stop for a second. When was the last time a headline genuinely shocked you? And I don't mean just irritated you. And I don't mean made you roll your eyes or post a snarky comment on some social media. I mean, it actually stopped you in your tracks. Where you felt it totally in your gut. Where it changed the way you looked at the world for months. Now, 10 years ago, certain stories would have shaken this entire country. Now, they trend for 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, then vanish. Replaced by the next outrage, the next emergency, the next unprecedented event. And if you're being honest with yourself, you're not even shocked anymore. You're just tired. And that is what I want to talk to you about today, because I don't think we're becoming more evil. I think we're being processed. We're becoming numb, and that numbness, it isn't a flaw in your character. It's a byproduct of a system that needs you exhausted to function. Now, stay with me on this, because if you live here in America and you feel like the world is constantly on fire, but you also feel emotionally flat, there's a biological reason for that. Your nervous system, it was never designed for this type of volume. For thousands of years, humans lived in small circles. And if there was a crisis, it was in your village, and it was real because you could touch it. Now, we're exposed to more crisis-level stimulus in a single week than our grandfathers saw in their entire lives. Financial fear, cultural fights, global drama, it never stops. And your brain, it does the only thing it knows how to do to protect you. It pulls that circuit breaker, and it desensitizes. But here's the danger that no one's really talking about here, because when everything is an emergency, nothing is an emergency. If every headline screams fire, eventually you just sit in your living room and you watch your curtains burn. And that's exactly where this circus, it wants you to be. They want you so overwhelmed by the whole thing that you stop paying attention to your own little reality. Now, think about the math of your life right now. If you spend 2 hours a day consuming outrage, that's 14 hours a week. That's 728 hours in a year. That's an entire month of your life every year spent emotionally yanked around by people who don't even know your name or care about you or your family. And when you're drained by that stimulus, you don't plan, you don't optimize, and you don't look at your bank statements or your health markers with any type of clarity. You just react, or worse, you shut down. Most people aren't exhausted from their actual lives. They're exhausted from the simulation of everyone else's lives. Your daily routine, it might be manageable. Your bills, they might be stressful, but they are predictable. And the emotional load of being globalized every time you pick up your phone, that's actually killing your drive. Now let's look at how this plays out in a real world. Because when you're numb, you're easily managed. A numb person doesn't notice when the electric bill goes up to pay for a data center next door. A numb person doesn't ask why the files are redacted when the truth is supposedly being told. Numb person doesn't build a garden or learn a trade or move their capital into safer harbors. Why? Because they're too tired to think that far ahead. Look, this is weaponized exhaustion. The big mess, it keeps the volume at 10, so you never have quiet you need to realize you're being fleeced by. So if that's the most rebellious thing that you could do right now, is to refuse to be emotionally manipulated, what if you decided that your internal clarity was more important than the breaking news? This isn't about burying your head in the sand, and this isn't about being ignorant. It's about being strategic. You cannot influence 95% of what they show you on that screen. You can't stop a war. You can't fix a corrupt bureaucracy from your couch. but you can absolutely influence the 5% that happens inside your own four walls. So, how do we break this cycle? How do we stop being processed and start being sovereign? Step 1, kill the frequency. Your phone, it should be a tool, not a leash. And if you have breaking news alerts turned on, you're giving a stranger permission to interrupt your dinner, your work, your sleep with something they want you to be angry about. Turn them off, all of them. Choose when you engage with the world. Don't let the world engage with you. Step 2, audit your impact. Ask yourself one question when you see a headline. Does this change what I have to do for my family in the next 24 hours? If the answer is no, look, let it pass through like water. Acknowledge it and move on. Don't let it sit in your stomach. Don't let it rot your mood. Step 3, reallocate the life force. Take that energy you were spending on all that outrage and put it into something that compounds. Learn a new skill that makes you more independent. Fix something in your house that you've been putting off. Have a real conversation with your kids without a screen between you. The big picture will never stabilize. In 2026, this big mess is only going to get louder, and there will be more redacted files. There will be higher bills. There will be more three-ring circus drama. But your responsibility to your own world, that doesn't rotate. It's going to compound. People who thrive in the coming years won't be the ones who shouted the loudest on social media. They're going to be the ones who stayed the calmest. They'll be the ones who detached emotionally so they could build strategically. They're the ones who realize that normalcy, it's a do-it-yourself project. If nothing shocks you anymore, look, don't worry. That's just your brain protecting itself. But if nothing motivates you anymore, that's a serious red line. And that's when you know that the circus has won. So don't try to feel that outrage again. Outrage, it's like a cheap fuel that just burns out real fast. Try to feel the clarity again. Try to feel control again. Stop being a customer for their chaos and start being an architect of your own peace. Because the world out there, it's going to stay loud and obnoxious. But your household can be a sanctuary. It can be a place where truth is known, where the work gets done, and where this great numbness, it has no power. Now, if this hit home for you, if you're feeling that exhaustion, hey, drop a comment down below. Are you more tired? Are you ready to get back to work here? Because the first step to getting back to the sovereignty is recognizing who is trying to take it from you. Now, look, I'm going to head home and I'm going to just focus on my family and me. I suggest you do the same. So take care of that family of yours, drive safe, and I'll see you in the next one.